Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2020 and the final part of this experiment where we take a look at what would happen if you had the perfect team in Football Manager with a non-league team and with Gibraltar. Now at the end of the last part we did see Gibraltar win the World Cup 2 times in a row and the European Championship alongside a Nations League. They have also won a under 21 European Championship as well. That obviously was the precursor to their great success beginning in 2024 with the European Championship. If we go and have a look at how they got on originally at Tonbridge Angels, you can see looking at their competition screen, 10 Champions League titles, leading the way out there with 7 Premier Leagues behind it as well, but a huge streak of 10 victories in a row, something that will probably never be beaten in real life. PSG taking the most recent one as Tonbridge Angels began to fall off a cliff a little bit. And what we're going to do today is release all of the key players from Tonbridge Angels. We're going to terminate their contracts. As you can see, they were only playing in cup games last season, although some of them still getting 11 goals in 13 games with 2 assists. We are going to let them go. We'll see where all of these players end up over the years to come. We will go to the end of their careers. We might not look at all of them in great detail. It depends on kind of how we get on, but we're going to go right to the end of their time and see how they're getting on as players. Now, if you have enjoyed this experiment, do drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Please hit that subscribe button. It does help the channel grow. And lets me know that you're enjoying it as well. But let's go forward to the end of some of these players' careers and see what they've got up to. Well, we are now 7 years, I think it is, into the future. It's now the year 2041. I think it might be longer than 7 years. I'm not quite sure. But you can see we are at a point where these players are quite old now and some of them are beginning to retire. This is the last save file I have where every player is in the game. You can see the teams are in. You can see they're still the best players in the world as well, although this guy putting on a big challenge with a 199 potential and a 190 current. But the rest of these players, undisputedly the best players in the game. And starting right at the top, we have Bria, a favourite from right at the beginning. Currently due to join Real Madrid actually in 2041 when his contract ends, but he does have a fantastic ability at the moment. He's got 98 goals in 184 games for Arsenal, and you can see he's been with Arsenal ever since he left Tonbridge Wells, and he's done absolutely brilliantly with them ever since. 24 goals from central midfield, plenty of assists. His goal and assist record together almost always exceeding the number of games he played in the league, but you can see that 8.62 up there as well. He really has done an absolutely fantastic job for them. And looking at his milestones and biography, I mean, that is a painful biography to look at. If we look at maybe his competitions since he joined Arsenal, you'll see that Gibraltar do continue to win competitions. I'm not sure that's a big surprise really, but he immediately wins the Premier League straight away with Arsenal, winning the FA Cup as well, Community Shield, Super Cup, Carabao Cup, a Champions League in there with Arsenal as well. Very nice result for him there. Another Premier League, another Champions League, a Nations League with Gibraltar. Guy really has won an awful lot with Arsenal. The Champions League again. Another Champions League. I mean, that's a huge number of Champions Leagues. So you can see overall here, FIFA Club World Cup, a couple more World Cups in there. I don't know why it's showing international ones in his time at Arsenal, but you can see he's won 4 Champions Leagues, 2 Super Cups, 6 FA Cups, 6 Carabao Cups, 5 Community Shields, and now 9 Premier Leagues in a row with Arsenal. Is that right? Has he won 9 in a row with Arsenal? Look at that. So Liverpool took one of them after Tonbridge Angels, but Arsenal have won 9 in a row ever since with Bria in the club. Now, it's not just because of Bria. You can also see down here, we do have Jason Williams as well. Now, he started out as a striker. He can also play down the right wing, so he must have been a fantastic contribution. 222 international goals in 200 games for Gibraltar. His record is utterly phenomenal. 33 and 38 for Arsenal. Way more than he ever got with Tonbridge Angels, and this is because he gets to be his own man when he joins Arsenal. He's not competing with other incredible players to achieve results, but you can see 118 competition wins in his career. That is utterly sensational that he's managed to do that. I mean, how do you even fit all of this on the screen? But you can see with Arsenal, 225 goals in 310 games, an incredible record. He's won all the same things that Tom Bria also won. I mean, that's quite the record there, going back to Southend 2015. But his time at Arsenal, absolutely fantastic for them. Now, below Tom Bria, we did have James Folks. He became their rival at Spurs, a centre-back for them. Not sure how much we'll get from his biography here, but you can see the average rating, sensational every year. And if we have a look at those milestones at Spurs, joined in 2033. He actually began his career at Spurs in 2006 and then rejoined them after becoming reborn at Tonbridge Angels, with a little spell away. But he ended up going back to Tottenham, making 309 appearances, but he did not win anything except for the Euro Cup 2 with Spurs. So not a brilliant result there. Spurs in their recent history, pretty mid-table, to be honest. I mean, top of mid-table, few top of the table-ish finishes, but nothing spectacular for them. But then we can see we have three players at PSG: Jonathan Henley, Tom Derry, and Joseph Ossayemi, all there. So Jonathan Henley here in goal. If we look at his career stats, obviously he went a very long time without playing and actually joined Leicester City on a free and spent 4 years there before being signed by PSG for 55 million. Average rating obviously not brilliant because he's a goalkeeper. He also didn't keep too many clean sheets with Leicester, but if we have a look at Leicester, we're looking at a 33-34 season, which is about here when he joined, and then he had 4 years there, including a season where he actually helped them finish in 4th place. So that is not bad whatsoever. If we do have a look at his biography with Leicester, you can see no competitions wins there whatsoever. Decent runs anywhere. Doesn't really look like it. Named in the Leicester Best 11. FIFA Best Men's 3rd place on the goalkeeper list and then bought by PSG. If we have a look at his biography at PSG though, it doesn't list his competitions, which is frustrating because we don't have the league loaded up. But you can see here several league titles for him. I don't know why it doesn't show that, but you can see they did finish runner-up in the Champions League as well. But I'm sure he's got plenty of French trophies in there. We can see all those consecutive titles. If we look at Tom Derry next, also at PSG, he actually went straight to PSG on a free transfer and has been there ever since with a sensational average rating, a huge number of goals, 37 and 34 there. Bearing in mind he can play literally anywhere because of that versatility. But if we look at that biography for him, you can see he actually did win the Champions League in 2036. So this is before the other player joined, and the Super Cup as well. Obviously, they won an awful lot of league titles, PSG as well. Looking here, you can see they've now got 30 league titles, but they've won every league title. Coupe de France, all those Coupe de France in there, Trophy de Champion, they all exist to these players at PSG. So they've had a pretty good time of it, all in all. And then if we look at Joseph Ossayemi, who is one of the centre-backs in the team. Now, he was at Arsenal during that sustained period of domination over the Premier League before leaving for PSG, presumably for a higher wage. But you can see in his time with Arsenal, he did rack up the competitions. FIFA Club World Cup in 2037. He won the Champions League 4 times, Europa League once, UEFA Super Cup twice, FA Cup 5 times, 4 Carabao Cups, 4 Community Shields, and 7 Premier League titles for him. Just looking at his awards here, FIFA Pro Team of the Year. I think we need to look at his entire career biography really for the personal honours. But 113 competition wins is unbelievable. Vanarama, and European Champions Cup Defender of the Season twice for Joseph Ossieme. I will just have a quick look at these two in their overall biography, because it can be helpful in the awards bit. So Henley won Champions Cup Goalkeeper of the Season 3 times, Premier League Golden Glove twice, World Cup Best Goalkeeper 6 times, and FIFA Best Men's Goalkeeper 4 times. So he didn't manage to keep winning this. So after he left Tonbridge Angels, which he never actually won this award with, this guy here, who was winning it for PSG, kept on picking him up. And it was only later on, when he replaced this guy at PSG, that he started to win this award on the regular. So very interesting the way that one worked out. But if we go back and have a look at Tom Derry here and his milestones, looking at his biography, he has won an awful lot. So he only got 81 competition wins, but that doesn't include all the ones with PSG. But he's won an awful lot of awards here. Trying to pick the biggest ones out. European Championship Best Player twice. Championship Golden Boot. Best Young Bear. FIFA Best Men's Player twice. FIFA Ballon d'Or 5 times. I mean, this is one we really care about, isn't it? And you can see these are all made up of Gibraltarian players. So Jared Small there, winning it with Real Madrid. Tom Derry winning it with PSG. Jason Williams taking it home, again Gibraltarian. He's the excellent striker we saw. Tom Derry takes it once more. He has been the big winner. Joe Turner with one at Real Madrid. Tom Derry, PSG, and then 2 for Jared Small, again picking them up with Real Madrid. So it's been competitive. It's always been the Gibraltarians in the top 3 here, I think. Just checking in case anybody else ever managed to sneak in there, but it doesn't look like they ever did. Except for this year where they weren't playing and Richard Collin ended up winning it, the Frenchman. But before that as well, still, ever since they were in the Premier League, it's always been the Gibraltarians winning it year after year. 20 years old there when they first won that award. So doing extremely well in the Golden Ball. Plenty of other awards for Tom Derry. We spent a bit too long on him. Jack Parter at Real Madrid, one of 4 players at Real Madrid. They had an excellent time there. Looking at his career stats, he was actually at Liverpool for a very long time. Now, Liverpool during this period didn't do that brilliantly. They dropped down. They were competing with Tonbridge Angels for a long time, but then fell off a cliff when the players seemed to leave Tonbridge. So I don't know what happened there. But then he joined Real Madrid on a free transfer, and he's been doing well for them there as well. While at Liverpool, he did manage to win something. The Europa League twice, the UEFA Super Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Euro Cup. 2 with Liverpool and with Real Madrid. Obviously, we can't see how well they did, but we can assume, looking at their competition screen, they have won plenty of Champions League titles. Looking at the past winners here, Arsenal, Real Madrid, PSG, no surprise to see they've dominated this ever since Tonbridge Angels fell by the wayside, because they picked up all the best Tonbridge Angels players. So PSG picking up plenty of Champions Leagues, Real Madrid winning plenty of Champions Leagues as well, and La Liga, they have utterly dominated ever since they picked up these Gibraltarian players, but it actually goes back all the way to 2023. So that is some record. So Jack Parter done brilliantly as a left back, winning an awful lot of stuff in his entire career though. Shortlisted for FIFA Best Men's Player 8 times, and a few other awards in there for him as well. Looking next at Jason Williams, we've already looked at him. Ryan Bray at Chelsea, only a centre back, so interesting to see how much of an impact he's had. Fantastic average rating throughout. But if we look at those milestones at Chelsea, he's been there ever since he left Tonbridge. And Nations League a couple of times, Club World Cup, European Championship, Europa League in 2039, UEFA Super Cup, Carabao Cup, nothing too special. Plenty of non-league awards. Shortlisted for FIFA Best Men's Player twice and Euro Cup Player of the Season twice. So not the best trophy haul for Ryan Bray. Deshaun Theobalds at Real Madrid. He's had a pretty good time of it with Gibraltar. And you can see he joined Real Madrid on a free. Excellent season run of seasons with Real Madrid, getting very good average ratings, a huge number of goals, 20 a season in the last few years. In his milestones with Real Madrid, well, we know the competitions that he's already won, we've seen that with other people, but he has had a lot of individual awards come his way. Premier League top goal scorer, European International League best player twice, FIFA best men's player third place 4 times without ever getting higher than that, Champions Cup golden boot twice, best player in Europe runner-up, and then a few golden boot places. FIFA Ballon d'Or third place twice, and third place in the FIFA Player of the Year. He never quite managed to make it out of that third place position. Now here's an interesting one. Tommy Hessian Harris is at Norwich, central midfielder. Look at this. He joins Norwich on a free, is without doubt their best player, and he has never left. What an excellent amount of loyalty when he has failed to win any competition. Norwich have been mid-table his entire career and he has never left them. Only valued at 8.5 million. I don't understand that one. I don't know why he'd be at Norwich for 8 years. Maybe it's because his loyalty is set to 20 and nobody else was able to come in. He's been shortlisted for FIFA Best Men's Player 18 times. Top goal scorer, third place 5 times, runner-up, third place, World Cup, runner-up, Golden Boot, best player in England, third place. He's just, again, he's been the European Championship best player twice, but Euro Cup player of the season 4 times, but he has wasted his time at Norwich, it has to be said. Jared Small, we've seen he has won the Ballon d'Or countless times with Real Madrid. He's had a sensational career there. Bearing in mind he plays central midfield, he's got a lot of goals, a lot of assists, and a 9-point rating almost every single year with them. Looking at those personal honours, he really has been one of the best players in the game. So European Championship, Golden Boot, FIFA Best Men's Player twice, Premier League top goal scorer, 4 Ballon d'Or wins, 4 Player of the Year wins, European Golden Shoe 3 times, Best Player in Europe 4 times, and World Cup Golden Boot runner-up as well. If we do have a look again at that Ballon d'Or, I don't know, can we see who's won this the most? I don't think it's actually possible to, but I'm just having a look here. So Tom Derry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for him. Joe Turner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for him. Jared Small, 1, 2, 3, 4 for him. I don't think anybody else has managed to beat that. So 5 the record, which I'm pretty sure is Lionel Messi record. Now he's actually got 6 of these Ballon d'Ors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, because he wins the one in 2020 as well, and in 2019. So Leo Messi maintains his record as the most frequent winner of the Ballon d'Or there. Jared Small unable to dislodge him. Joe Turner as well. Quick look at his history here. Just looking, he was actually at Arsenal again during that period of insane dominance they had before joining Real Madrid on a free. So Arsenal really basically just picked everybody up from Tonbridge Angels and had a sensational time of it afterwards. But look at the individual honours here for Turner. He has won an awful lot. 5 Ballon d'Ors in there, which we just saw. FIFA Best Men's Player 6 times. FIFA Pro Player of the Year 5 times. He's just won everything. European Golden Shoe 3 times. You can see here 34 goals at the top, but they're all Gibraltarians pretty much here. Tonbridge Angels a few times, and Mbappe actually managed to win it in 27-28, which is interesting. But basically the Gibraltarians have been clearing that one up, and he's just won absolutely everything as a player, including 121 competition wins, which it's not the most, but Arsenal have just utterly dominated everything. Who would have won the most of these? I think it'd still be Bria, maybe. Yeah, because he's been there the whole time. He's got 111 competition wins. I'll just check on Jason Williams, who's probably been the most prolific player. And he's got 118 competition wins. I'm sure we saw somebody with 121. Jason Williams, though, absolutely sensational career. And it's that goal tally of 222 in 200. So we need to have a look at Gibraltar next. Now, if we look at their national team, only 2 players left. They're not dreadful players, but they're not incredible either. But they're currently still ranked number 1 in the world. So I can imagine a lot of their players have only just stepped down. We will be able to see when we look at their senior squad schedule. So if we go back to, I think, where we left off before, which would have been, was it 2032, 34? Oh, it wasn't that one. Must have been earlier than that. Here we go. We left off around this point when they beat Brazil in the World Cup. You can see they do win the Nations League 5-0 against Holland. The next year, 12-0 win over Albania. And they just run through this, beating Ireland, France 5-0, Belgium 5-0, and 8-0 over England in the final. All their players still there. Excellent run in the Nations League. And then you can see they do actually lose in the Nations League final to Spain. They've not lost many games, certainly not in competitive games with their best players, but they have lost here 3-2. The following year, though, in the World Cup, no such mistake. 10-0 over China, getting at least 4 goals in every game after that. Colombia 5-0, then Portugal 5-0 in the final for another World Cup. And you can see another Nations League there, 5-0 against Germany. European Championship, no problem here, cruising through against everybody. England 3-0, Serbia 3-0, then Germany 5-0 as well. They do lose in the Nations League on penalties to France, but then in the World Cup, they actually win a semi-final 10-1 in that World Cup and beat Holland 2-0 in the final as well. Absolutely cruising through that World Cup. Another Nations League there, 4-1 against England. Another European Championship, even if they did lose to Portugal in the group stage, they managed to make it through. Get revenge on them in the quarterfinals, 3-1. 7-1 over Spain, and then 4-1 over Germany. But this is where the defeats start to come. England and Belgium in the Nations League. And then you can see they do begin to struggle a little bit after that. They do win another final. Oh no, that's the previous year, isn't it? There we go. If we go forward, this takes up to the present day. They did lose in the Nations League final to Italy. So quite a good record overall. 4-time World Cup winners now, winning 4 in a row, 5 European Championships, 4 Nations Leagues, and then French Youth Invitational in 2039 as well. Is a bit surprising that they managed to win that, but overall a pretty good time of it. Now I will just jump forward a few more years because some of these players do hang around. If we go to the year 2045 and just take a look who is left at this point, it's not too difficult to find them. You can see the game does take some time at this point, but if we go and look at the shortlist of best players in the world, give it a little refresh. There we can see there are 3 of them left. Tonbridge, Joe Turner and Joseph Osayemi. All 3 of them retiring this season. Joe Turner continued his time at Real Madrid. I mean, there's no point looking at these competitions really. PSG, Real Madrid. I do just want to have a look if Arsenal kept dominating the Premier League. No, they actually lost the most recent year, but they did keep winning after that. But if we go and have a look at Gibraltar, I don't think these players have been playing for them in a little while, but I just want to see how much they fell off. So obviously they won the European Championship the following year, bit of a patchy record. The following year, again, a patchy record. Does that mean they didn't qualify for the World Cup? Potentially. European Championship didn't go well either. They did qualify for the European Championship, but got absolutely smashed. Did manage to make it into the second round, actually, just about. But then beaten 2-1 in the next round. And suddenly they're losing every game in the Nations League. They do beat Azerbaijan in a World Cup qualifier, but they're being beaten by Iceland, Sweden and Turkey. So they are now heading straight back down, dropped down to 9th in the world ranking after being number 1 for so long. They are not going to be able to keep going, and they just don't have good enough players left in their team. 7.25 million, 31k is all they have left. So that probably brings us to the end of this experiment once we have taken a look at the history of Tonbridge Angels, because you can see here is where they stopped having these incredible players available to them. And since then, 5th, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 12th It's been a gradual decline into mid-table until they finished 4th most recently. Still only got a 20k stadium. Lots of good players in their team, but they're not brilliant players. They're not where they have been. Just refresh my mind here. So we're looking for any competition wins after the 2032 season, because they did win the FA Cup and Carabao Cup in that year. So after 2032, can we see anything? 3rd place in 2033 in the FIFA Club World Cup, but no in the FA Cup, no in the Super Cup, no in the Europa League, no in the Carabao Cup or Community Shield. So they never won another competition after they lost all of those great players. That's a bit of a shame. They didn't manage to kick on from there. Looking at their landmarks here, a few switches of captain. They did finish runner-up in the FA Cup a few times. They had a new owner come in as well, but they have just not managed to do anything since these players left. And just looking at those club details, the reputation is still extremely high. Club attendance, twice what their stadium fits, and they do still have 76 million in the bank with some pretty good facilities across the board. So the club will become an established Premier League team now. I'm no doubt about that. They have been for the last 10 years or so, and I'm sure they will continue to do. They have benefited from that illustrious period of their history with the great Gibraltarian team. But that is it for this experiment. Do drop a like down below if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. But until next time, see ya.